So what feels literally overnight, the COVID-19 has changed a ton of things to how we live our lives, including, for a lot of us, our approaches to training and staying in shape. In this video, I'm going to cover the principles you should be following to help you keep from regressing and even being able to make further progress under these home isolation conditions. For a lot of us already, we're missing the gym. The sounds of the weights clunking together, the feeling of loading a barbell up across your back and pressing until you can lift no more. Rest easy, friends, those days will return. But for now, we're left with the scenario, what the hell do I do now to maintain what I've already built? And is that even possible? Loads of home workouts are popping up across social media to address this. Some are of worth, and others honestly will do little more than burn a few calories off from all the snacks you've been eating in quarantine. So here's what you need to know. First thing I want to do is rest your mind at ease. Stopping regression is possible from home-based minimal or no equipment training. One 2011 study showed that even when subjects decreased their training volume by down to 1/9 of what they normally performed, they were able to maintain the muscle tissue that they had built for 8 months. While another study group who stopped training altogether over the period went all the way back to nothing. They lost all their gains. So what the study obviously tells us is way better to be performing something, even if it's submaximal by 1/9 of what you normally do. So this is not the time to stop training, but rather it's time to look at what's optimal and get smart. Here's some key principles when training at home. The biggest thing that the vast majority of us don't have access to during this time is gym machines and the endless supply of weights and loads that commercial gyms offer. So what we don't have the luxury of is tapping into one of the main muscle growth principles known as progressive overload, and as a result, being able to place a ton of mechanical tension on our target muscles. Instead now, we need to have our training programmed around the hypertrophy mechanisms known as metabolic stress and muscle cell swelling. This is where you need your training program set up to induce a swelling effect within your muscle cells so you experience a localized pump, which in turn has your muscle cells recognizing the swelling as a threat, and in a defense reaction, respond by restructuring themselves and by growing in size. The other hypertrophy mechanism that your home workout needs to be utilizing is metabolic stress. You know that burning sensation you get in your muscles that builds up through a working set? Well, that's acidity building up in the muscle. The lactic acid being present in a muscle has an anabolic muscle growth effect. So while during this time, most of us don't have the luxury of a ton of weights to be throwing around and lifting super heavy and causing those heavy lifting growth mechanisms to occur, with the use of body weight and resistance bands, we can still be tapping into a number of key muscle growth mechanisms at home. Key things to be sure your home workout training program has prescribed in it to make sure these things are occurring. Programs set at slightly increased higher volume than normal. Session frequency either the same or increased from pre-self-isolation workouts. Shorter rest times between working sets to help increase lactic acid accumulation. Intelligent use of intensifiers such as peak contractions, burnout sets, mechanical drop sets to help further bring about and trigger muscle cell swelling. Now, nutrition-wise, you want to ensure you have a few things covered here. Now first, if we're focusing on retaining as much lean muscle as possible, make sure you're in calorie surplus. Now, I'm not talking a huge calorie surplus, so I don't want you to get out the other side and have a ton of fat to burn. But you do want to make sure you have a little extra that holding muscle isn't a problem. Ensure that each meal you eat is high in protein. Protein is critical to you being able to preserve lean muscle tissue, as well as being able to be used for the muscle rebuilding and repairing physiological processes needed after your training sessions. Now rest easy here, guys. This extra bump in protein, the body will find it very difficult to store in fat if you happen to consume too much. During this time, you want to be sure you're getting all the extra help that you can. A few supplements that I would 100% recommend. First is a whey or an isolate protein powder. Like I mentioned, you want a protein-rich diet, and getting some of your protein requirements from a protein powder is going to make life a lot easier, especially when it's becoming more and more difficult to get the meat options at the supermarket. A protein powder helps ensure that no matter what happens on the supermarket front, you'll still be able to get your daily requirements of protein in. And this is one most of you think I wouldn't have recommended as a priority, but a good pre-workout supplement is seriously gonna help. Now, a couple of reasons here. One of the most common challenges when you're training from home is you're alone. you don't have the vibe of the gym environment that you're used to, and motivation can be a challenge. A good pre-workout can help you focus in, help energize you, and can help you crush a good workout despite the isolation. Now remember, the two hypertrophy mechanisms that I spoke about before, metabolic stress and muscle damage, well, if you want to maximize both of these, you need to be pushing through reps when lactic acid is being heavily built up. You want to be fully maximizing your localized pump effect. A good pre-workout that packs both nitric oxide and lactic acid buffering compounds is going to help make sure your home workouts are generating the effect that you need. And finally, a good little addition to your isolation Supps stack would be a good testosterone support supplement. A supplement that supports your body's own healthy production of the male sex hormone testosterone is going to help you hold more lean muscle, help you stay lean, and also increase your libido, which was probably the only cardio you're going to be doing during lockdown. So there you have it, guys. Yes, you can definitely stop regression even when away from the gym. Yes, you can continue to progress if your training program is set up correctly. Yes, you can ensure holding lean muscle with a slight calorie surplus and keeping each meal high in protein. And yes, certain supplements are definitely going to help you hold what you have and even help you continue progressing. Guys, it truly may feel that we're completely out of control at the moment, and yes, that's true. But with your fitness and nutrition, you can take control. Guys, be safe, stay healthy, and keep crushing your goals. I'm Tyron Bell, and I'll see you on the next one.